Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Q&A video answering your guys' questions. First one I'm going to start with people wanted to hear my thoughts on a recent interview with some of the bigwigs at AMC talking about the possibility of another companion series for The Walking Dead. So this one will be more of kind of a random Q&A. A few people asked me to give my thoughts on an article. I'll put the link in the description. It's from Maxim.com. The interview was done by Vulture, and basically it asks, you have two guys from AMC, network head Charlie Collier and programming chief Joel Stillerman. And they were asked, a few questions about kind of the spin-off, and basically, which is, of course, Fear of the Walking Dead. Whoever answered the question out of the two of them had corrected the person who asked the question, where they said that Fear of the Walking Dead is not a spin-off series, it's a companion series. And I guess that's true. They did say that if they were going to do a spin-off, it would have been characters from the original series that left, like Morales' family or something, and then they did a whole series based on that, like an individual spin-off. They did a companion series which occurs in the same universe, the same world, but doesn't have any characters that spin off of it. So I get that. I understand that. And then the second part is they're asked if there's possibility that they would do another series in the future, that they could at some point do another companion series. And they said that they wouldn't rule it out, but they did mention that they'd have to be able to put their trust into someone to do it. And if Robert was also interested in doing it as the executive producer, then they'd be interested in it. So they're not talking about it right now. It's not on the radar right now. But in the long term, we could see that. Me personally, so my thoughts on this. I don't really care too much if they were to separate it up and do two different, companion series. Because as long as we get enough episodes of the one, like the first season of Fear of the Walking Dead is only 6 episodes. So with it being only 6 episodes, it's kind of like, well, it's like half a season, less than half a season of a regular show. So I'd rather get one show at 15 episodes than maybe 2 at 6 and 6 each, because you just can't really get that much into it. And I don't know. So it's a possibility in the future, but I think that from what we've seen from ratings and that and viewers, The Walking Dead has hit its peak in season 5. We'll see if it can do it again. Adding on the other series with Fear has kind of detracted a bit from the popularity of the original show. People are getting almost zombified out, it seems like. And I personally don't know if they'll ever add on a third series when the other two are running. But I do think that in the long term, AMC has great potential to really do a lot with the Walking Dead license. Like, I think they could have the original Walking Dead right now. They can have Fear, which they're doing, of course, this year, and probably get a third season. It's not confirmed yet, but it probably will. And then further on down the line, if the original Walking Dead ever does end, I could see them renewing their license with Kirkman, talking with him, and getting him to do some other kind of Walking Dead series. Maybe not one that he's writing or anything like that, but just one that he's involved with, that the name can be used for. Because you see, the name is so big by itself that AMC could probably use that over and over again. Just kind of like how you have Breaking Bad, then it ends, and you have Better Call Saul. You have the same crew involved. We may see some other stuff in the future after the original Walking Dead series does eventually come to an end, however many seasons that's going to be. So those are my thoughts on that. A few of you guys asked to hear my thoughts on that. Not much else to say. It's not like they're working on it right now or anything. It's possible. We also talked about in the past that we'd like to see a Walking Dead movie. I'd love to see that, but it doesn't seem like they'll probably ever do it unless it's like a big finale thing. Game of Thrones is actually shown in theaters all over the place when you get to like the season finales and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I could see them doing that for a Walking Dead finale if AMC was interested in doing that. Who knows about licenses and stuff like that. But it might be worth them for them to do that for a finale or something. So the other questions for today's. This one's from Chris W. And he says, "Hey Trev, love the channel. Been a huge fan ever since your Is Michonne video. That's back in season 2, bro. That's way back." And he says, with Danai Gurira being cast as Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mom. In the upcoming biopic, All Eyes on Me, about Tupac, of course. Do you think there's a chance of her dying in the second half of season 6? No, I don't think so. Just because she's got something else she's doing doesn't mean that. You've got Norman Reedus. He's been working on other projects for a long time now. He was in 999. And maybe that's why we didn't see him that much in the first half of season 6. But they can still work around it. They can make it work. Lenny James has been in a million things since The Walking Dead started. And I don't think we have to worry about that at all. Plus, we don't know how long. I don't know how long the biopic is going to be, and how much involving that would be for it. But I think she definitely looks the part. She looks like she could play probably Tupac's mom, based on my memory of what he looks like, to some extent. Yeah, she's strong, that kind of deal, and he's of course a powerhouse of a figure in hip hop. Always has been, of course, even till now, like make a movie about him now, even these days. So I think she'll be good in that role. I think it'll be a good role for her, too, to kind of get out of The Walking Dead, because I don't know how many other projects she's worked on in addition to Walking Dead. But a lot of characters in the show now. They can film other stuff while they're doing Walking Dead, in between. And it'll be interesting to see that. I may check that out. I may check it out because I did used to listen to some Tupac when I was younger and that kind of deal. Not too much in hip hop nowadays, but So cool. So we'll see what that's like to see her play a motherly figure in that one. That'll be interesting. Next one's from Will Dindar. He says, "Hey Trev, I have 2 questions for the Q&A. First, did you expect The Walking Dead to become such a big show and rival shows like Game of Thrones in terms of popularity?" So let's stop there and then we'll get into the second question afterwards. So, did I expect Walking Dead ever become as popular as it has? No, never. Especially when it first started. Like I had read the comic book series, watched the premiere for the original Walking Dead season 1, episode 1, and loved it. But there's so many things on TV or movies and stuff that I really like, that I think are really, really good, and almost nobody else watches. Some other examples are Mr. Robot. That's an amazing show that, again, basically nobody watches. Gotham, I love Gotham, and almost nobody watches it. So there's a lot of things that I really like, that I just love, and almost nobody does. I thought The Walking Dead was going to be one of those. I was really surprised to see it become so popular and kind of bring back the zombie apocalypse genre for movies and video games and everything, because I didn't think that was going to happen. I never saw it being more popular than Breaking Bad. I always felt like Breaking Bad was up there, and then when The Walking Dead started, it seemed to just get bigger and bigger and bigger up to season 5, where it hit its most popular season. But I guess it's because of quality. It's because of not having many shows that kind of quality, and it's just so incredible. But no, I never thought it would become as big as it has. No way. And shows like Game of Thrones. So when I started reviewing Game of Thrones 2 was season 2 of Game of Thrones. And it wasn't very big at the beginning either. When it first got started, I was watching it. I loved it, but not that many people knew about it. When we got into season 4, season 5, it mimics The Walking Dead. Same deal as The Walking Dead, where it just got big around season 4 or 5, and people started talking about it like crazy. I remember some of the big deaths in Game of Thrones, like, I don't want to ruin anything. You've got the purple wedding, red wedding, and when we saw that in the show, it kind of blew up, but on the internet, a lot of people were talking about it. But even nowadays, even bigger. So no, I never thought either Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead would become as big as they are. A lot of older shows and stuff, I never really got into that much. There's a lot of stuff on TV that doesn't take itself seriously. It's really hard to get into. The acting can be bad. They may not put that much effort into it. So I love networks like HBO and AMC that are really trying to bring epic stories to regular television that are movie quality, and getting to see them over the long term is amazing. It's like a new genre in and of itself, which there still aren't too many shows like that are that good, I would say. Next one, he asks his second question, what one death which has happened so far in the TV series would you change to another character or not happen at all? Keep up the great work as always. I would probably go with the Andrea death in the season 3 finale. Even though they had set her up with the governor, she was kind of sleeping with the enemy, so to speak. Maybe they felt like she was too far gone, she couldn't come back from that. But probably hers. I mean, Dale's would have been cool to see him around for a while longer, but or maybe Shane's. But any of those really would be the ones that I'd like to change. It would have been cool to see Shane throughout the series, but it's The Walking Dead, so that's part of how it goes. Characters get killed off, story moves forward. It happens again, story moves forward. So there it is. But I like your first question about the popular Walking Dead. No, I never thought Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead would become that popular at all. Never thought that. Next one's from Chris Wiltshire, and he says, "Hey Trev, how's it going? Spoilers." Okay, let me read this first. Okay, so if The Walking Dead producers, etc., would want the season to expand and have season 9, because we've talked about the future of The Walking Dead and where it should end up in terms of the comic book series, to be a 2-year time skip, what do you think will happen? Will there be a new villain that lasts a season, marriages, deaths, new characters, that kind of deal? if I had to make a prediction, you're asking me to predict, they'll probably skip it too, probably. But I think they'll be missing a big opportunity to really add in a lot of extra content and give us at least half a season of a new storyline, which we might see. Do I think we'll see a whole season or 2 seasons of add-in? No, I don't. I'd like to see it as long as they can write it to be as good as the comic book series. Include some character deaths in it too, probably. You got to get a good mix of that because that's the story. And maybe bring in a new threat, new community. Nothing they've done before. It has to be unique. It has to be different. It can't be like an illness or just zombies or anything like that. It has to be something special. And I'd like to see them shake it up a bit. I love it when they get close to the comic book series, but I also like it too when they veer off course. And they've been pretty close to the comic book series as of late, especially with stuff that's coming up from what we're seeing. So I do like it when they shake it up and they give us some new stuff. Getting to see Atlanta again was really cool. And, there's some really good add-ins and stuff like that. Even though Dawn's group wasn't the best in season 5. But I would like to see them add in a lot for that time skip because I feel like there's opportunity there for them to do quite a bit of stuff. So that's my response to that one. Let's do a couple more. Next one's from Redstone Master. He asked a common question, which I've answered before in Q&As. Trev, what do you do with The Walking Dead comics and TV series is? And what will you do? Well, The Walking Dead is pretty much one of my biggest hobbies that there is that I have in my life. So I love The Walking Dead, love Game of Thrones, love The Walking Dead comic series. Eventually the show and the comic series are going to end. Be looking for other things that I may want to do reviews for, that kind of stuff. I didn't start on YouTube just to do Walking Dead. That was never the intention. I had a channel before The Walking Dead TV series even premiered, and same with Game of Thrones. And this is just stuff, I've gotten into over the years in my channel. The videos I do with you guys mimic my interest. So if my interest changes eventually, if the show ends, my interest will change to other things, will do other things. Will all of you guys want to stay subscribed? Probably not. Maybe a lot of you will leave after The Walking Dead ends. That's cool. No problem with that. I get it, But, I like to do other videos too. I just have a passion for talking with you guys, making videos. It's something I did even when I was in high school and in late grade school. I'd be video editing and making Dragon Ball Z music videos and stuff like that. When I was younger. It's just something I really, really enjoy, something I really love to do, and talk about stuff I'm interested in. I love comic books too, so that's something I could do is I could start subscribing to comic books and doing maybe comic book reviews for different series rather than just The Walking Dead. Do like Avengers or DC or Marvel, this kind of thing. So that's something I could get into in the future when The Walking Dead eventually does end at some point. Or other TV series. There'll be other shows, too, that are good. Mr. Robot's a great example of a new one that came out of nowhere and just blew me away. And I think it was nominated for a bunch of awards, too, wasn't it? I have to check into that. Let's do one more. This one's from Isla Drummond, and she or he says, I recently read The Walking Dead comic, the TV show, around Season 6, Episode 6, when I binge read them all. I was wondering if you can imagine TV Maggie being able to hang someone. Let me see what else you got here. Based on where she is in the comic book series now. Thanks a bunch if you answer my question. I've been subbed since the end of Season 2, started Season 3. Massive fan. I watch all your videos, particularly enjoy Walking Dead and Dragon Ball videos. Keep up the good work. So right now it's hard to picture Maggie as like a really strong leader of her own community because where the character's at. But I'm sure there's going to be a big transformation. They've had her cut her hair, do stuff like that. It kind of transforms the character, makes her look more mature, I guess. It's kind of a hairstyle that's more used, by middle-aged women, that kind of deal, rather. Maybe I can't say that. I don't know. But I don't want to piss off anyone here. Not anti-feminism or anything. It's cool, whatever. Let me withdraw that one. But I just feel like we need to see her do some more stuff along the way to her becoming a leader. Do I think she would be as good right now as leader of a community as someone like Carol or something like that? No. Some people are like, oh, Carol become Alpha from the Whispers. They could see her transform into something like that. I could see that too. That'd be really cool. I'd love for them to do some kind of switcheroo like that with us and, throw something in there that's hard for us to see, and then we kind of see it when it comes to fruition. It's a great idea. Turn Carol into the leader of brutal group of killers. See, so there's something you could do with a time skip. You want a time skip? There's a time skip storyline right there. Boom. There it is, AMC. See, writers of Walking, all you got to do is subscribe to the channel. Just listen to all of our ideas. Listen to me giving them the best ideas from you guys, because that came from you. That's not from me. That's from you guys. I read that in a comment. So yeah, that's it. But right now, it's hard to picture Maggie being a badass leader. Yes, it is, just because of where she's at in the show. So I'll call it here for today's Q&A. Keep sending me your guys' question. Keep sending me what you got. I'm going to do one on the comic book series. Going to talk about whether or not I think Negan's going to regain control of these saviors. So that should be fun. So if you guys like the video, as always, you know what to do. Thumb it up below. You can share. You can favorite. If you're new, you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. Have an awesome day, guys, and I'll probably see you again tomorrow. As always, this is Trev. I'm saying peace.